Hey, welcome to class. My name is Jonathan Barefoot. Today we're going to learn about the straight hose roll method. A little bit of an introduction, housekeeping stuff for fire exits. If the fire alarm does go off, you have exits out the back left, straight back, and down the hallway on the right. You'll have signs that show you where to go, but those are the exits to get out of the building. At the end of the class, if you wouldn't mind making sure that the roster at the back of the class is signed. What are we going to be covering today? We're going to describe the purpose of the straight hose roll and demonstrate the straight hose roll. Do you have any questions about what we're going to go over today? The straight hose roll is the most common hose roll in the fire service. It's performed after incidences, training, or hose testing. Must be performed evenly without kinks. Must have the correct coupling on the outside for deployment. You'll notice on the picture here we have the female coupling on the outside, the male coupling on the inside. That is done to protect the threads. If we were to flip it around and have the male coupling on the outside, that would show us that the hose is defective in some way and shouldn't be used in the fire service. It'll need to be checked, evaluated, and tested. Again, the most common hose roll in the fire service is the straight hose roll. The male coupling on the inside of the hose roll is to protect the threads. And some of the purposes of the straight hose roll are for loading on the back of the apparatus, returning to quarters following an incident and getting it cleaned, placing it into storage, and loading a Minuteman load. How are we going to do the straight hose roll? First, we need to find a flat, clean surface to roll it on. We roll the male end first. Again, that just protects the threads and shows that the hose roll is ready for deployment. We roll evenly on the hose. Don't want any coils, protrusions, or anything on the outside. It'll just affect how it deploys and how easily it is stored. Once we're done rolling, we'll lay it on the ground and tamp any of those protruding sides just to make it more uniform and even. Do you have any questions on how to perform the straight hose roll? Fantastic. What we're doing now is we'll transition outside so that we can do the practical part of the class. So for safety measures, what I like to do is when you're dealing with hose, I always like to wear gloves. This hose has been cleaned and has not been used for a while, so it shouldn't have any issues. But using a hose that's been used at a fire or anything, you gotta worry about carcinogens getting into the hands or just picking up glass, debris, anything like that that could cut open your hands. So I see you brought gloves to class, so that's awesome. First thing I'm gonna do is demonstrate how to roll up this 50-foot section, and then I'll let you practice. So typically before you roll it, you'll want to just do a quick inspection of the hose to make sure there aren't any defects, bumps, blisters, anything like that, any burn spots. Since I said we've already inspected this and got it ready, this hose is good to go. So you'll find your male end, and you can tell that it's the male end by the threads. And for a hose that is ready to be deployed and used in the fire service, you want to roll the male end first. So you'll start like this. Now, if the hose slides on a good surface like this, you can just do it this way, or I call it the little tuck method. You roll, tuck it back. To me, that keeps it more uniform, tighter, just a lot neater. If you're unable to do that, like rocky surfaces, grass, anything that's really causing an issue, what you can do is stand up and walk it in like this. Again, this isn't as neat. I don't like it this way, but if you start getting the coils and everything, protrusions, you can just lay it down, tamp it with your hand or your foot. But whatever method is best for the situation you're in. you have a 50-foot section ready to be deployed. Do you have any questions on how to properly roll the hose? If you wouldn't mind, you can go ahead and demonstrate for us. It's a good job keeping it tight. There you go, way to tamp it down when it gets like that. Almost there. And one final tamp. Nicely done. Do you have any questions on how to roll the hose? You'll put it there, we'll go back inside the classroom and cover our last little bit. So to wrap up our class, what we'll do is we'll just talk about the things, cover the things that we talked about and just reinforce what we've learned. So to wrap up, what is the most common type of hose roll?
Straight hose roll.
What are the uses of the straight hose roll? There's 4 of them.
So we use starting a vacuum apparatus after incident, for storage, for the loading and Minuteman load. And, is it easy to take it after for cleaning?
Yeah, to wrap it up after an incident and bring it back for cleaning, and then just for storage on the apparatus. And lastly, what is the purpose of rolling the male coupling on the outside of the hose roll?
That's for being out of service.
Yeah. Finding a defect, finding something wrong, something you don't want this to get used on a fire or an incident. You roll it like that, and that way when people go to grab it, they see the male coupling on the outside, they know, don't use this, there's something wrong. Okay. Fantastic. Do you have any questions about anything that we went over?
No, sir.
Well, thank you for coming to class and thank you for participating.